Okay, yeah, let's save that one because I got a few things I want to get to, and we're already pushing into it. So this is another one from my hometown, as Graham would say.
They love to throw away the hard-earned money of taxpayers with wild abandon. I mean, the stories of waste and corruption from local governments seem to have no end. And Calgary's City Hall has been working hard to outdo itself with their boondoggles and waste. I mean, on the low side, Calgary blew $4.8 million tax dollars, and it took them 4 years to come up with a new slogan for the city. The slogan was Blue Sky City. Yeah.
$5 million for Blue Sky City.
Who did they pay?
4 years to come up with a new slogan.
Oh shit.
Oh,
Right
no,
now-
No. What have I done?
Municipal
you fast forwarded by mistake. Oh, there you go.
money of taxpayers with wild abandon. I mean, the stories of waste and corruption from local governments seem to have no end. And Calgary's City Hall has been working hard to outdo itself with their boondoggles and waste. I mean, on the low side, Calgary blew $4.8 million tax dollars, and it took them 4 years to come up with a new slogan for the city. The slogan was Blue Sky City. Yeah, almost $5 million for that, guys. There should be a forensic audit of that ripoff. And then on the high end, Calgary spent $1.4 billion in 9 years on an LRT expansion without laying an inch of track. By the time the government finally stepped in from the province and pulled the funding from the project, the projected cost of this train line had ballooned from $100,000 per meter to $600,000 per meter. If left alone, Gondek's Council of Clowns and inept city administration probably could have pushed the cost of that plan to $1 million a meter. It's now going to cost another $700 million just to get out of that mess with the contracts. Now we've got a new disaster looming on the horizon, and that's with electric buses. Like most progressive mayors, Jody Gondek has a climate change obsession, and one of her first acts as mayor was to entrench an insane, and it is insane, $87 billion climate plan for the city of Calgary. Yeah, that wasn't a mistaken number. Her plan is to blow $87 billion just in the city of Calgary. Changing Calgary's bus fleet to electric buses is presumably part of that plan. A pilot project was embraced by City Council to purchase 14 electric buses for a cost of about $14 million. The pilot was set to begin in 2022.
With the revelations of the Edmonton boondoggle and the disaster that was, how can this even be happening?
It gets better.
What?
So we're never gonna get the buses.
Well, it's 2024 now and getting near towards the tail end of it. The problem is no buses have arrived. The city has constructed charging stations and made plans, but the buses are nowhere to be found. If you look on the city website, a short, terse statement was made in August saying the buses are delayed for now. There's some little utterances about supply chain issues. Yes, indeed, there's a supply chain issue. The buses aren't here. This bus supply seems to have collapsed. And if you look at the company the city bought the buses from, it's not hard to see where there's a delay. Vicinity Motor Corporation appears to be on the brink of going broke. Their shares have dropped to penny stock value, and they've only managed to make 11 buses in the last quarter of 2023. They haven't responded to press inquiries, and they're heavily in debt. The odds aren't looking good for the city in getting either of the buses, of course, a refund on whatever they've spent so far. But it gets worse. In December 2022, the city announced they would go ahead with a $489 million plan to buy and equip 259 electric buses. I mean, when questions were asked why the city's moving forward with this massive purchase, despite the pilot project not having started even, people were told, well, the electric bus program in Edmonton was so successful, they decided Calgary didn't need to wait for the pilot to finish.
Did you catch that part?
Yeah.
That's how they use the Edmonton example. This is so successful they don't need to wait.
What?
Yeah, you
explain again. Can you explain again?
Yeah.
The electric bus program in Edmonton was so successful they decided Calgary didn't need to wait for electric buses.
When was that?
When questions were asked why the city's moving forward with it gets worse. In December 2022, the city announced they would go ahead with a $489 million plan to buy and equip 259 electric buses. I mean, when questions were asked why the city's moving forward with this massive purchase, despite the pilot project not having started even, people were told, well, the electric bus program in Edmonton was so successful, they decided Calgary didn't need to wait for the pilot to finish. Edmonton's electric bus program has been a complete catastrophe. The buses cost a fortune. There were 60 of them. They were found not to work in cold weather. Diesel upgrades had to be added to the buses to heat the motors to make them work at great expense. And then the buses began to break down en masse. But the city couldn't repair them because the company that manufactured them had gone bankrupt. So now they can't get spare parts, and 2/3 of the buses are out of service. $60 million, folks. Now, the first of Calgary's 259 electric buses is supposed to be in service in a year or two, I believe. They're all supposed to be in use not too long after that. But when you consider the pilot program buses they've been lost in the mix somewhere after years, it becomes hard to believe that this larger order is going to be arriving anytime soon. So where's the city at with the procurement of this massive electric fleet? What's the progress been to date, and how much has been spent already? Well, they're not telling anybody. As with the Green Line, the city's keeping the information hidden as deeply as possible. Citizens, you got to get up and demand a progress.
$500 million worth of buses.
Oh my God! See, this is the problem that we're facing now. We're really seeing the end, or the results of this climate change bullshit. It's happening, right? It's starting to happen. Programs have been put in place since like 2017, for example. You guessed that one right on the head. And now we're seeing the results of it, the disaster. And imagine how this is going to, oh my God, all the NGOs that are involved, all the government funding institutions to give them the reports they want to reinforce the narrative of climate change. I mean, it's going to all just be such a disaster.